gosh, that's different. Well, good morning. Happy Friday to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being on today's Producer's Mindset. I have the lovely Kimberlee Bilbrew, and she's going to give us a little bit of her background history and how she got into real estate. Yes. So Kimberlee, thank you so much for being on our Producer's Mindset. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be here. So good morning, everyone. Look, I'm usually there with you, so listening in. So for those that are still getting dressed in the morning or whatever, sending you great energy as you prepare for the day. So yes, as Simon said, my name is Kimberlee Bilbrew. I am the real estate plug. Have the opportunity to be here at Keller Williams South Bay. So my journey starting into real estate, I always wanted to be in real estate, but I'm actually a dual agent. I'm dual career agent, and been in social work for 20 plus years. And I just didn't know if I would have like the time to actually do both. And that job, I'm actually made it up to administration, and I actually have a lot of more flexibility in my schedule. Ended up buying a home, and my real estate agent at the time and mortgage broker were both like, oh, like you do so well at this. You know what you're looking at. And I'm like, I've been around houses my whole life, right? And I ended up giving my agent at the time almost, I think he said 12 referrals in a year. So he was just like, I did it personally. Wow. So he was just like, wow, why don't you jump in? And I was like, oh, I don't know if, And so anyway, we had the dialogue and the conversation, stumbled upon coming to your class, started here with you, coming to this same room, learning about the business. And from there, it was just
time flies when
we're having fun.
I definitely remember, many years ago, I used to teach real estate school here in the training room. And Kimberlee was one of my students back then, and look at you now.
I still am your student.
Yes,
absolutely.
Well, a student of learning, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I definitely appreciate you and all of the success you've had, throughout the years. So let's go back. You were saying that you currently have a full-time job working for the county, right?
Yes, I work for the county. I have the pleasure of working for the Department of Children and Family Services. Where I enjoy working. That's where I get my skill set or superpower of working with people, which definitely helps me in our business in real estate.
That's awesome. So back in 2018, when you got your real estate license, how was that experience when you finally said, hey, I got my license, now what's next?
So 2018, I get it, and I'm like, all right, let's do this, right? And you guys said, Kim, pick up the phone, do A to Z, start calling people. And I was like, I'm not calling my people. I need to go find other people, because I need to be able to show that I'm able to sell in order for them to trust me. And it didn't happen that way. What you said to do was exactly what I needed to do. And when my family and friends found out that I was actually in real estate, they actually got behind me. I didn't trust myself at first. It took me, I was playing around, and it took me to my 11th month for my first transaction to come together. I actually, my cousin was at a restaurant, saw somebody who said they wanted to buy a house. She actually talked to her and said, I got somebody for you. I ended up calling the young lady. We made a match, and I felt like it was cold. Came back to my mentor at the time, Jason, and I shared with him, he says, no, it takes 12 touches. Go back. And I'm like, oh. So I call her again, because I'm thinking I'm nagging her, and I call her again. She's like, no, things have just been busy, anything. So I sit down with her on our first meeting, and I said, when would you like to buy a home? She said, 1.5 years. I said, absolutely. Okay. So I started talking to her about it. And from the date I met her to the date she closed was actually 4 months, because it's just that she didn't have the information that she needed in order to be successful in it. She was living in the Leimert Park area for 20 plus years, that she had been a renter, and she wanted to take the plunge into being a homeowner. So I was able to assist her in that.
Yeah. And how was that experience? A little nerve-wracking?
It was initially, because I was like, oh, am I doing this right? She actually, I talked to her still and laugh about it, because she wanted me to go through all the documents. literally. And we read through every sentence. And I still remember she was like, that doesn't apply to me. Let's cross that out. And I was like, no, that's a legal document. We can't cross it out. But in real estate, I mean, not in real estate, in social work, I've always done contracts and talked to people about things. So it was really a comfort level on being able to educate her about the process. So the more I know, so even with the people that I mentor today, it's what you have in you in order to be able to pull out of you. So if you don't have the substance in you, you don't have anything to give away. So as long as you're making sure that you are educated and knowledgeable about what you're sharing and not what you're selling, but what you're sharing, then it's more of a trusting relationship that'll happen between you and your client.
Yeah, no, 100%. But you definitely have a tenacity and just an ability. And I think with the many years working for the county and being in front of people, I think that just kind of resonates with you. And this is why you're so well at doing real estate.
Yeah.
It's
fun to me. It's fun because I get to show people the opportunity of how to tap into generational wealth, right? Yes. Most of my customers or clients often have the same story as me, that we want to have a place that our families can go to, a place that we can be in and comfortable with our friends. We can actually be visionaries about what's going to happen in your home, right? I had the opportunity of selling a home like to one of my cousins. And we would go see homes, and I said, what do you see? And she's like, my Christmas tree is gonna go here. That's right. And the family is gonna go right here. So every home we went to, we were like, I was like, do you see a tree there? Yeah. Do you see so those kind of things. And still to this day, we go over there and I'm like, that was 2 years ago now. And she's like, you did this, right? Your family or your client is going to be the person that continues to say, like, you wanna work with her. Right. When she says that she got you, she has you. Right. Even in some of the client testimonials that my clients have done for YouTube and things of that nature, they say that Kim says she got you, right? Yeah. So you just want to have a trusting relationship for them to know that you have integrity, to know that you that this is most people's their largest purchase in life. That's right. Right? Yeah. So you have to be able to support them in that and ensure them that they can actually do this. Most of, especially being here in Los Angeles, they spend more in rent than sometimes they'll spend in mortgage. So true. Right? So and they've been paying a landlord for 20, 30 years. Right. But now all of a sudden, they're like, I might not be able to do it. And I get to share my story because I was the same way. I had been working in the field for almost 18 plus years. I had working 6 figures already, right? In my social work career. Right. But I didn't trust myself that I'll be able to do it. And now I've been in my home 11 years and haven't missed a payment. So I get to tell people those things, like, you make sure that some things are going to be taken care of because that's what you want. That's right. And so, I love being able to walk people through the process. No, but what really resonates on the story is the mere fact you've experienced that. So and you can now provide that information because I've been a first-time home buyer. Yes. I understand, the ins and outs of the initial process. So now when people are first-time home buyers, you can kind of handhold them through the initial process. Yes. It's going to be okay. Yes. We got this. We got this. We got this. And then usually when people know that they're not alone, because I end up having a lot of people who are their families, but a lot of individual, single individuals. And when they know it's a we, because most people might wait till their partner comes, wait for the promotion, all that kind of stuff. But if you're like, no, I can do it right now because we can do it because I hired an agent who can help me and walk through this process. And I share with you that we're building this team around you. These are all the experts that are around you that will be able to help you get through this process. The more confident you'll be in it. 100%. Yeah, makes so much sense. Yeah. Now, are you mostly heavy buyers, heavy sellers, or a combination of both? It's a combination of both, but it would be more buyers. I remember in the MREA, it says, what is it going to be, right? And I was like, ooh, 50-50, right? I just want 50-50, whatever that is. Yeah. And I enjoy working with buyers, but I absolutely love listings. Yeah. I think all of us do. Right. It's different. That they say you put the sign in the yard, so that's for everybody to come by and know that you're in business, so you'll get other calls. Excuse me. It's also helping them. The seller might be in distress because of something, right? I've had clients who weren't even living here anymore, but they're just like, Kim, I need you to take care of this. I don't want to deal with it anymore. Here's the key. Right? To someone who literally wants to sit in the living room and see everybody who walks through the door, right? So I've had clients that have been on either one of the spectrum, but whatever their comfort level is what I am. So I use my social work skills and starting where my client is, no matter how they feel, how I actually operate. Yeah.
Now let me ask you, Kimberlee, what is one of your lead generations? What do you do to generate opportunities?
I would say staying in relationship. I stay in relationship with my clients that have closed in the past. And it's just like a check-in, right?
Yeah.
It's just how are you doing? Following up, knowing about what their kids, celebrating them with the different things, right? Also, I would say I'm always of service. So I'm connected to communities. I create communities, but also I participate in communities. And usually when I go in the room, I don't have to talk about real estate. People always say, oh, Kim, you should get with Kim. Kim sells real estate, right? Kim will take care of you. She just took care of me, right? And I don't always post or make stories around my clients closing, because that might not, we could be in the same room. I won't tell you that you bought a house with me because that's your business. If you choose to share it, you will. Right. And they will be like, oh, yeah, you didn't know this house, Kim sold this to me, right?
Right.
So I've had that. So from my coworkers at DCFS, I have sold them homes. My sorority sisters, my family members. So that's been my book of business, just being consistent and authentically showing up how I do.
Yeah, I like what you said, consistency. That's something that is instilled in me for many, many years. I remember my personal coach and my mentor was, when I was new in this industry, he says, the only way that you're going to succeed is consistency in your business. So whatever that looks like, be consistent.
Yeah.
And to this day, that resonates. So when you share that, it's like, yeah, spot on.
Yeah, it is. And so in social work, we say that we're the emotional tools, right?
Yeah.
So as an accountant, you can use a computer, as a calculator, all that kind of stuff. The same thing with real estate. My business only takes a lull when I'm at a lull.
Yeah.
Right? When I actually don't want to be, because it's a contact sport. You got to get in there. You got to touch the people. You got to talk to the people. You got to be, as they say, I like to be gut to gut. So I like to go to networking events. I like to go to, again, like I said, service. Yep. So I actually have to let people know that I'm something that is tangible that they can have access to.
Yeah. But then you're easy too.
Yeah.
To converse, you break the ice. But what you said earlier, which resonates with me a lot, is we don't talk about real estate.
Right.
But, we eventually get into the conversation because the curiosity is, well, what do you do for a living?
Right.
Because you have so much energy, people are curious. And that's where you do the follow-up and ultimately, make those connections.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I don't even know another way to say it, but I don't have commission bread, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not driven by how much I can make in the business.
Sure.
It's actually, I want to just make sure that I create a legacy that helps you create a legacy.
That's right.
So you actually being able to, one of my greatest stories is one of my clients was 89 years old when he actually closed on his family home, right? And excuse me, that is what I wanted to be able to do. When he was in fear that he would have to move out of his family's home and that he would have to be in Menifee or anywhere and not close to the VA that services him, the church that he knows about, the story of walking up and down the street when he was, when he left the Army and he remembers the development of it. And I said, there's no way, right, that this man is moving. I don't care what anybody else says around me. This is what's going to happen. And it took us going to 2 different brokers. It took me having a conversation and standing up to the other agent because they were like, no, we'll be able to make more if we go to market. Making more to go to the market has nothing to do with me. Right? I know his parents would want him here. His sister, who is trying to sell the home, would want for this to stay in the family so that the next generations will be able to say that my grandparents or great grandparents were able to purchase this home. That's what I'm working for. So when people know that that's what I'm driven on, not like, oh no, you don't want this house, you want this house because it's going to get me more. Like, no, I gain nothing from having more financial and tangible. That kind of money will run through my hands. It's only going to be wealth and riches if I make sure that I do it to support someone, right? To make sure that they have something. And the reason why I am in real estate, like I said, I love it naturally, but I don't make my lifestyle around it.
Sure. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
What it has been one of the most difficult transaction and one of the most easiest transaction in your career?
Ooh, I would say one of the most difficult ones is one that I'm actually dealing with right now.
Okay.
And my client actually, unfortunately, our parent passed away. And so it's a lot of emotions that go around that. And so just trying to help navigate that with them,
Sure.
and seeing what it is that she wants to do. And it might not be something that I want her to do, but I have to provide her all the options in order for her to use self-determination to say how she wants to operate. So, you know, when she made a decision and then now she sees the residuals or what's happening because of the decisions that she made, now she's just like, oh. So it's gut wrenching for me because it does get personal, and it's supposed to be business, so you're supposed to step back a little bit.
Sure.
But when you're dealing with people and families, you know, it definitely touches my heart. So that I would say that's one of my most difficult ones.
Yeah.
One of my easiest transactions, I don't know. I feel like each one teaches me something, of course, and I always go back to reflect what it is that did it. Oh, I'll go back to my cousin Jessica and her husband Sheldon, who she already knew what home she wanted, right? She already went to the home, she saw it, and was like, I want this home. Then she was like, do I want this home? Kim, I told you I wanted to purchase something. Can you take me back? I saw something earlier.
Yeah.
So it was going to go see that again, showing her other inventory that was in the neighborhood, being able to do a comparison with her, and then going back and telling the seller's agent, this is my client's home, and so what do we need to get it done? And so for her, it was only took her out one time, and we were in transaction within 2 days, and there was no hiccups. We had no delays or anything.
Yeah.
And now they, you know, are working from home, and she also has a business that is flourishing out of her garage, right? So those are the kind of things I get to see what's birthed, because now you have a stable place to call your own, something that you get constant residuals from.
Yeah. No, and we all want smooth, easy transactions, right?
I don't know if those exist.
They do. They don't come that often, but they definitely do.
They
you know, when everything is in alignment, right? When the buyer is just so easy to work with, the listing agent is so easy to work with, the lender's on top of it, escrow's on top of it, and it just, there's a flow to it, right? And before you know it, it's like we're closing already. I mean, this has been an amazing experience. You know, they do come. But where we get paid the serious money is on the difficult transactions, right? And this is where you have to have multiple hats, right? You know, the professional as a real estate agent, but also caring and navigating if you're working with the buyer, working with the seller, right? And the challenges, because it's an emotional roller coaster, right?
Yes.
And it's our job to, you know, navigate that and make it a win-win, because ultimately what we're trying to do is just get to the finish line, right? And you know, that's where a lot of it comes in from, you know, having experience and understanding different components and how you can navigate that.
Absolutely. So you just have to learn how to pivot. I think the whole time is pivoting, because it's just the way that you look at it, right? You can see it as being this difficult, or this it's the ending, you know, all of that. But if you just see it that yes, it's a challenge, but these are the things that we do to get through it or navigate through it, then you'll come out better on the other side.
Absolutely. So, but it only makes you better too.
Absolutely.
Because now if a challenge on another transaction, I've been through that. I already know how to navigate that, right?
Yeah, I ended up calling somebody this week just to check on them and say, hey, you know, I haven't seen you at a meeting, because I'm a president of 2 different organizations. And just say, you know, I was looking forward to you. And then she says, you know what? I forgot you're a real estate agent. I said, absolutely. She says, we have this thing. It's, you know, our home that we're thinking about selling, my mom's home. We thought she was going to come home, but she's going to probably end up staying in the convalescent. And it's in a living trust. Do you know how to navigate that? Oh, absolutely. Just finished one with the, I've done living trust. I did this. I was like, we have, and so she was like, all right, I'll make sure to have you through a walkthrough. I'll let you come and see the home. So I was just like, wow, because I often go, oh, they do trust me, right? Because as I shared with you earlier, I didn't know if my tribe, my family, my friends, or whatever. I was like, I'm gonna have to get some war wounds out here first before they do. And they don't. They say, Kim, we see how you show up in every other space. So why wouldn't we trust you in that? If you take care and execute everything else, sure, we know that you'll take care of us in real estate as well.
Yeah. But what you said too is, check-in. How important is checking in, right?
Yes.
For the people on Zoom, if you haven't checked in with, past clients, friends, family, it's a great opportunity to check in because you just never know where that opportunity will lead you, just as this one did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And do it genuinely. Nobody wants somebody that's like, oh, so yeah, how's that going? Right. And I also, even if I go up, because I haven't gotten every listing, and I haven't also haven't received every buyer that I met with. I'll even still go back to them and say, well, what is it that I can do to improve? Right. So for the next time, what was it that said that was the difference between them and I? Right. And usually they'll end up in transaction with whoever it was. And then they'll go like halfway through the transaction, Kim, right? Because some people can sell things initially, right? Like this, that, and the other. And then when they get in transaction, they don't even know who you are. Like, I got you in transaction. Like, we'll do that. Like, no, we're literally from the day that we start all the way through. Right. So we're reading through the reports when your NHD comes through, when your preliminary report, all of that kind of stuff. Some people might just be like, hey, you got something in your oh, you did get an email, didn't you? Right. So no, it's a total handheld.
Yeah.
And one of the things also, that's why I call myself the real estate plug. I did not know that you would have to be as knowledgeable of so many different things coming into this space. Right. So building the relationship and people around you as well. So from transactions, like having my escrow, my title, my transaction coordinator, and that sometimes might change depending on what my clients need, because they actually also get to weigh in on how we operate and work together. Right. But also, in addition, the different other people that we have, the list of HVAC experts, the list of roofers, all of this kind of things, right? They also have the opportunity to do that on their own, but they'll be like, I get a joke all the time. They say, Kim got somebody for that. Kim got a man for that, right? Because if they know like, oh, this is happening, like we're closed. My transaction is closed, but I know I still can call Kim. That's like golden, right? So even when they go back and they say, because I also have people who do a lot of up legs. Yeah. So they want to actually go into the next thing. They'll go, okay, whatever I need to do to this to get it to market, I know Kim will take it. She'll run the ball and make sure to identify where I'm going next. Right.
So important to have your elite team in place, right?
Yes.
Because it makes the whole process a lot easier, because you're the go-to for this, the go-to for that, right? But initially trying to get to the finish line when you open an escrow and get to the closing, because there's a lot of moving parts. Mm-hmm. But as you said, Kimberlee, is having the right team in place, right?
Absolutely. Well, I think that's also how I've been successful as a dual career agent, is because I have to have relationships and I have to have a trusting relationship with my colleagues in order to be successful. So, excuse me, I work a 9-to-5, right? And having the two hats as a president, I can't always make myself available. And I actually also value being able to vacation. I used to be thinking, I have to be here for it all, right? In order for it to happen. And it doesn't happen that way. I have been relationships with colleagues as well as mentor people who are like, whatever you need, just let me know.
Right.
And so now I have people that I'm just like, hey, I'm not able to do it. Can you do this? Right. And the same thing for them. Right. So they'll call me and they'll say, hey, Kim, can you do this? Not a problem. I can take care of it, because that's what we should be able to have, is a relationship, a reciprocated relationship. And most of the time they'll be like, okay, Kim, let me pay you for that. I'm like, no, you don't need to pay me for that. That's me supporting you. Because everybody needs to know that they have support. You'll be more successful if you know somebody's in partnership with you than if you know that you're standing on an island. In this business, you cannot stand on an island by yourself. Because if you stand by yourself, nothing's going to come to you, right? You're going to keep on going out there fishing. I don't like to spend all of that time doing that. I want to know already where everybody is and what I need to do, right? So I have real authentic relationships here. And so I feel that much more comfortable about people taking care of my clients, possibly in my absence.
Yeah. Well, let's touch a little bit being a dual career, because I know there's a lot of agents that are in that transition, newly licensed agents that are doing a few transactions, but still need to have a regular job because
Absolutely.
they cannot survive just doing real estate. Tell me how that experience. How do you balance your job 9 to 5, real estate, family, and all of the things that you're part of?
Time blocking is my friend. It's my superpower. So I have to look at my calendar and see what's coming up. I have to, because a lot of people, like, for instance, just January, had an amazing January, 3 transactions, right?
Yeah.
I used to think that I only could do 1 transaction at a time because I thought, like, okay, I need to be able to be over here, and what if I can't do that, right?
Sure.
So layering it and understanding all the different steps, what I need to do, and actually being visual. I'm very visual, so I have to actually see a calendar, look at how things are going to operate. Now, it doesn't matter that that's how I said the day is going to go. It doesn't necessarily go that way, right? Text messages happen, phone calls, crisis, all of those kind of things. So you got to, again, going back to the word pivot.
Right.
But time blocking is how I'm successful in it.
Okay.
Yeah, because this isn't anything that you could step away. Like, you still have to be in it, right? If you go cold, dormant, go away, it could go somewhere else, right? You still got to have some kind of warm touches, some to a certain extent. So that's how I'm successful, is time blocking. Also, I still make myself available. When I got into the business, I ended up getting 2 phones. An additional line, because I said, oh, I'm going to have a real estate phone. I'm going to have my personal phone. Yeah, it doesn't work that way, right? Whatever number they know you on is what they're calling you on, right? And you have to make yourself available to them in that. Excuse me. And I don't get to say, oh, I clocked out of this and I go into that. Like right now, I'm like, you're like, Kim, do you want to come on at 8 in the morning? Like, absolutely. I haven't even started my other job. That's how I start real estate.
Right.
I get up in the morning, and as soon as I get up and do whatever I need to do, then I'm popping on here so I can hear what's going on and start my day. I'm checking my email, setting it up, seeing if anything came in overnight, checking the inventory, seeing what's going on. If I have a client, even if somebody isn't like today, but I know that this is a home that you might be interested in a year, I'm still sending it to you like, look at this. Oh my gosh. All right, when we're ready, you know what I'm saying? Because most people think that they need much more time than what they do.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you do? You like that? All right, well, let's see. Let's just have them run the numbers for now. Right? And then once they run the numbers, you can see, oh, what do I need to do in order to feel comfortable with that? Because I never want you to be house poor. I never want you to be, I tell my clients all the time, I want you to be able to invite me over for the barbecues. I don't want you to be like, Kim made me buy this big old house and I can't do anything, right? No, what does your life look like now? There might be some modifications that you have to do in order to afford this home. But for the most part, what do you want to be able to do in it, right? And so once people find out what that comfort level is, they're like all in. All right, Kim, I could do 4, I could do 5, I could do 10,000, right, a month. And this is what it's going to look like. And I'm like, okay, great. So then when we go out and you're trying to convince me that you're going to pay 18,000, I was like, no, you said 10. So I'm not taking you to go see that. This is what we're going to go see in this parameter. What do you see in that we could possibly have here, or we can do here to eventually get there? Because all we need to do is to get into the home. Once we get into the home, we can make it whatever it is that we want it to look like, right?
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
What's your goal for 2025?
2025. So one of the things that I was doing with my mentors is that we figure out a word, right? So you think about your word for the year.
Right.
My word this year is me.
Okay.
So for me, I'm prioritizing myself and what it looks like, right? So because of my flourishing and, thank goodness, great business in real estate, I get to, of course, be in business with you. I have plans of what my transactions will look like, but also I get to start a build at my home. So I just got the final permits. So RTI, so we're ready to start, ready to build. Yeah. So that's what this year is going to be. What I see eventually for my business, I know that I'm going to end up going into broker space, right? Still be connected to Keller, so it won't be necessarily that I'll be off on my own. That's what I see visually for myself.
Right.
And also, I do want to move more into the developing space. I know that I would do well in that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you'll do well in anything you put your mind to.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely do. I do. And I have a lot of residential clients that are interested. I have some businesses that are looking for spaces. I have a huge client right now that I can't wait, so I'll be able to share what's going on with them. But I have so many different opportunities, and it's just so exciting because you just never know what's gonna come up, right? It's the things that you think, oh, I have these things, these things are gonna happen, and then this bounty comes, right? So I just like to plant my seeds and see what's gonna come into. So I'm excited about 2025.
Yeah.
I think that 2025 is amongst even, all these other things that could be happening around me.
Sure.
I know what I need to do and how I need to operate in order to be successful in it, right? So I do think that 2025 is going to take me to start studying for my brokers. Also, start planning on when I want to go into the GC, general contracting space.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Final thought. I can't believe it's already 8:30.
You said it was going to happen that way.
Yeah. I mean, I got so many questions, that I mean, we can have a conversation for hours.
Okay. Well, I'm up for it.
So just final thoughts, anything you'd like to share with the group?
Be authentically you. That's what I would just say. That's what you have to do. If you're in the business trying to figure out what it is, I told Simon earlier, when they told you to pick up your phone and call A to Z, right? When they told you to actually make sure that you learn the business, get into the classes, you need to be in classes. So there's no excuse of you not getting education. You can't advise your client without knowing yourself. Now, you don't have to be an expert in this space. We have the access to experts in this space. All you have to do is be willing to learn. So as long as you're willing to learn, you'll be successful here.
I love it.
Yeah.
Kimberlee,
Yeah.
well, thank you so much for your time.
No
what
problem.
An amazing journey.
Thank
Wow.
you.
I still remember vividly, when we were in here and you were going through the motions of getting your real estate license.
Yes. And it's been a journey ever since. I'm going to actually do a YouTube about all the different cities that I've had the opportunity to sell in. So, yep. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, that concludes our Producer's Mindset. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you on the next one.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
See you guys. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Have an amazing day.
Thank you, Kimberlee.
Awesome.
And Simon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a pretty decent participation.
Yeah.
Almost